All right, hey everybody. I'm going to give people a few minutes to come in and get situated, and then we'll get started. All right, so let's go ahead and give people a few minutes here. I'm just going to be sitting here, finishing up some notes for this live stream. All right, let's go ahead and get started. If anybody wants to come in, they can. But I want to go ahead and start this live stream talking about the unfortunate events that happened last night. And I want to go ahead and I'm not going to go into detail about what happened last night, but if you were here and during the live stream, then you know exactly what happened. And I wanted to go ahead and quickly apologize for my behavior. For my behavior during the live stream. I should not have broken down. I should not have, gotten depressed or cried or gotten angry. I should not have lost my shit. I want to apologize for my behavior. It's just that when it comes to bullies, when it comes to this type of hatred and vile stuff, it really does anger me. It really does, really stick with me. It really does, fire something up in me. And I just want to quickly apologize for my behavior and just to let you know that this channel does not condone hatred, does not condone any hate speech or anything like that. Another thing that I wanted to quickly mention is that something that the troll mentioned when I was questioning him or her about that I did not know them. I never seen their screen name before, but they were saying like, "Oh, we've been with you from the very beginning." That sort of hit something in me that I've kind of felt like a little bit. I kind of felt like for a little bit, and that's about fan entitlement. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about fan entitlement. For the one person who is watching, welcome. You're like midway into my apology for what happened during the live stream last night. But yeah, I want to go ahead and move on to fan entitlement. And I think that us as a fan culture have gotten that over the top sense of fan entitlement about like we are owed this material, like we are owed, like, oh, we've been with you from day one, so you owe us something. I don't owe you shit, to be honest with you. I don't owe you anything. And let me just say that, and that's something that I've always been concerned about, especially when it comes to my old subscribers versus my new subscribers, is that sooner or later somebody was going to, pull that shit. Somebody was going to pull some fan entitlement shit. And I'll tell you, I don't approve of that. I don't owe you a damn thing, to be honest with you. I really don't. If you want to stay subscribed, that's great, but I don't owe you anything. I'm doing this channel for me. I'm doing this channel for the people who want to come in and be nice and who want to, come in and be positive. But if you're just going to come in and, spew hateful shit, if you're just going to come in and troll and all that stuff, then you can go ahead and unsubscribe because this channel is no place for that. But on to a much more positive note, we're going to be talking about the After series and the film by Anna Todd. That's like the whole purpose of this live stream. And I wanted to kind of address a question that I was asked last night during the live stream that went completely off the rails and everything. And that was regarding Hardin's personality and wondering like how would I change it? And I gave the very flippant response of, oh, there's nothing that they can do. Oh, oh, this will never work. Like, oh, like, oh, they're screwed. They backed themselves into a corner, which was completely the wrong response to do. But so to answer the question, like, how would I fix his personality? I would just say, do it. Just fix the personality and don't draw attention to it. I mean, just open up the film and he's completely different. I mean, if you want to go back completely to the books, I would not recommend doing that because like I said, there is this wonderful middle ground that I feel like they can do. That I feel like that they can do to sort of to be between the tame, the not Harden of the first movie and the problematic Harden of the books. I think that there is like a common middle ground that I think that they can find. I'm not entirely sure like how I would do it, but I mean, if you were to ask me the question, like, how would you do it? I do not know where that middle ground is, but I'm sure that there is a middle ground they can find where both sides would be happy. See, the thing is that, and this is like why I kind of gave like the shrug off flippant response was, like, oh, they're so screwed because they backed themselves into a corner. And you know what the fact of the matter is that they did back themselves into a corner. That film, the first film, posed a lot of problems for them that they're going to run into down the line that I think they're probably going to run into writing the script is that sooner or later somebody's going to point out, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's great that you're going back to the book, but it doesn't make sense from a story perspective. Because like, what are they going to say to the fans? Oh, go ahead and, throw the first movie out the window, completely forget about the first movie. I mean, just, completely just toss the first movie to the side. Like, oh, we're just going to start with a sequel. Because not only did they, ruin Harden's personality, but they toned down Molly. They did not really do anything to set up the Tessa Zed Harden love triangle. They didn't really. I mean, they didn't really do anything with it. They didn't really. And I mean, they can fix the cursing. They can fix the sex. I mean, that's fine. And I'll talk about the rating in a minute. Because that's one of the topics that I want to get to, which is the rating. But, I mean, like they did really kind of put themselves in this tight corner that for the majority of people, myself included, like, oh, we're going to be happy with that. Oh, they're back to the books. But I'm also very fearful that, oh, is this thing going to make any sense? Can they fix his personality? Yes, I believe they can. But they do have to walk that very tight rope in trying to remember that, you kind of have a first movie where you put yourselves really into a, deep, tight corner and a second movie where you're trying to fix a lot of the wrongs that you had with the first film. Um, because the problem is that, I mean, there are a lot of people. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about Anna Todd, and I love about the people behind the After series here, is that they know where they screwed up. I mean, it seems like with all the discussions that they've had, like with all the news that they seem to be leaking out about, like, oh, how is After We Collided going to look? It seems like they know where they messed up. They know where they have to fix it. But I hope they also know that tightrope line that they have to walk, and remember that the first film did not set up, some stuff that could, potentially happen in the second movie. They need to remember that, oh, we did not get a Tessa Zed Harden, love triangle. We did not really get any of that Tessa Zed relationship in the first one, to the point that they didn't even have really any interactions together. So what I'm almost suggesting is that, and I know like some fans are going to kill me for this, but I'm almost suggesting, and because I want to see Samuel Larson get more to do, I want to see all these supporting casts get more to do, but I would almost suggest that you guys have put yourselves into such a corner that, um, that you've already messed up, like you've already not even set up the Tessa Zed relationship, that I will almost say, because you're bringing in Trevor for the second film, you're going to be casting Trevor for the second film. I would almost suggest giving Trevor Zed's storyline and just switching the Zed stuff over to Trevor. Because again, since you're only, introducing Trevor in the second movie, you can already kind of set that up a little bit, especially because the first movie ended, and this is where I think the first movie ended pretty well, which is this ambiguous ending on whether or not that Hardin and Tessa are going to get back together when they're sitting there at the end of the dock, at the end of the first movie. That we don't see that reconciliation. We don't see what happens after they look at each other. It goes to black, and of course the credits start rolling. Um, but yeah, I firmly believe that they can't. I mean, that I would almost recommend just giving all the content to Trevor. I would almost just recommend, well, you already have this character, just open up the film. They argue, so we're back to Tessa and Hardin arguing. We can see a little bit more of Hardin's personality in the beginning of the second movie. You can just, introduce Trevor, and then, kind of like give him some of Zed's content, and then you're kind of, just, you fixed half your issues right there. Although I know that the fans won't be happy, because again, they want to see Zed, they want to see the book. You guys want to see the book. We all want to see the book. But I'm trying to, suggest things that that can actually, back them out of this corner that they've kind of found themselves in, with how the first film was handled. Because unfortunately, they had a director who was unfortunately unwilling to do the book, which I think that after a certain point, like, because I know that they have to have meetings. They have to have meetings before they start filming. They have to have meetings before the director's even hired. That at some point you're going to have to start to notice that this director does not want to do the book, because an original script that was involved, yes, it made changes, but it was more closer to the book. I think that it was Susanna McMartin who wrote the original script that I think like most of these actors signed on to. And then all of a sudden, Jenny Gage comes in with her own script writer. She pretty much tosses Susanna McMartin's script out of the window and writes her own version, which is what we ended up getting, which is where, Hardin's personality is completely, out the window, where cursing is out the window, where it's a PG-13, where it doesn't, to a lot of points, it does not even look like the book, where it doesn't even look like even a resemblance of what we know and love from the book, which is why they are now in this precarious position, why they are in this, rough position of now having to fix instead of just continuing the story. And that's where I think, like, one of the problems is. Another thing, the next topic that I wanted to talk about is, of course, the Teen Choice Awards, which, as many of you know, we have gotten 3 awards for Best Drama Movie, Best Drama Actress for Josephine Langford, and Best Drama Movie Actor for Hero Finds Tiffin. And so if you look at the retweets, if you look at the official Teen Choice Fox Twitter account, and you look at the retweets, Hero Finds Tiffin, the After movie, and Josephine Langford are by far and away the most retweeted thing in terms of that category. Even for the first time beating Lady Gaga, yeah, even beating Lady Gaga, they are they are by far and away the most retweeted thing of the bunch, which is very surprising. But yeah, they are. So I said on Twitter that I'm about 98% certain that the after movie, Hero Finds Tiffin and Josephine Langford are all going to win at the Teen Choice Awards. But then someone responded that talking about rigging, that oh, this thing's going to be rigged. Like there's no way that they're going to win. And so yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. That like oh, we can vote until the cows come home. We can retweet. We can do all our stuff. But it's going to be stacked against us. It's going to be rigged. I have heard, stuff about that. I have seen people mention that time and time again, and this is not the first award show that I've actually seen that mentioned towards. Let me talk about an old or an awards show that is so changed from where I originally saw it as a kid, which was the MTV Movie Awards. Now, originally, it was like one of my favorite award shows. It was the show that I would always like run home to watch. It was the one that I had the most fun with. Sure, I love watching the Oscars because even as a little kid, I love movies. But the MTV Movie Awards was definitely the one that I had the most fun with. It was the one where we could see categories such as best kiss, best scared as shit performance, best what the fuck moment, best. I mean, you get what I'm saying. A best scariest shit performance. I mean, like stuff like that, like these like weird, fun categories that they had, where that was pretty much the award show where films like Twilight stood a chance of winning, best movie, where that thing would never get nominated in like any of the official award shows like the Golden Globes, the Screen Actors Guild, the Oscars, the Producers Guild, like all that stuff. Twilight would never be nominated in those award shows, but the MTV Movie Awards was always like that one show that where the Twilight films could actually get, have actually like a fighting chance and win Best Movie. But then all of a sudden, and again, I cannot remember where I read this, but right around the time that the Twilight films were wrapping up, that was when they started to change the rules. That was when they started to change the award show. And even the person who was running the award show at the time, I don't know if they still are or not, but they even said that, oh, we're changing the rules because we're tired of this being the Twilight show, which is like, well, that's kind of what the point of this is. It's supposed to be, fan voted. It's supposed to be, what the fans want. But the thing is that after a certain point, people just started, I mean, that like the award show almost became, okay, fans, here you have your vote, and now an official body is going to come in and pick the winner. Yeah, like okay, yeah, you can tell us like who you actually want, but then like an official body who will pretty much come in and make sure that you don't fuck it up. Uh, will actually give it to the real winner, like the real person who should win. And I'm hoping that that's not what happens with After. I'm gonna call shenanigans if After does not win, if Josephine Langford does not win, if Hero Finds Tiffin does not win. I'm gonna call shenanigans on and say like the whole process is rigged, because from where I'm sitting right now, when you look at the retweets, again, this is by far and away the most retweeted of the bunch of films that are nominated. After Hero Finds Tiffin and Josephine Langford are the most nominated in this category, in this genre, in this part of the categories. So yeah, I'm gonna call shenanigans if sometime in August, whenever the award show is airing, if they don't win. Do I think that it will matter if they don't win or not? Not really. I mean, this still sort of gives them. It still gives the film. It still gives the actors exposure. I mean, we've already won on that level. Is that I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who are looking at the nominees and saying point blank, oh, like what is an after? Like what is like, oh, like they're already, more interested than they are before. Uh, they already know the name after. They already know the name, Hero finds Tiffin. They know the name Josephine Langford. But yeah, I want to see them win. I think they deserve to win, especially if that's what the fans want, because that's the whole pitch of this, is that the fans are the ones who are voting, not some, secret, academy ballot, not some secret academy voting body. This is supposed to be the fans. This is supposed to be the viewers. Um, but I have a feeling that, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. That the show is going to get rigged, and what we're going to end up seeing happening on awards night is best drama movie, A Star Is Born, best drama movie, or best drama movie actor, Bradley Cooper, best drama movie actress, Lady Gaga. That's what I can almost guarantee is going to happen. Even though you'll look at the retweets, you'll look at everything, and you'll see, well, wait a minute, After is the one who got the most retweets. After was the one who got the most mentions. So what the hell happened here? Well, the rigged. The next topic that I wanted to go through is this question mark that I brought up a few times, and that some people have brought up a few times, and that is the United States versus the international cut. Now, all this started because Jennifer Gibgot, who is one of the producers, she was answering a whole bunch of questions on Instagram, Twitter, one of the social medias, and she said to the response to like one of the questions is that, oh, the US is getting the PG-13 cut, everywhere else is rated R. And that the US test audiences said too much sex. Well, I've always called shenanigans on that. But there is a Twitter account called After Daily News, and they were answering something, talking about like the digital version that's coming out, and somebody was like asking something along the lines of, oh, well, are they going to put the deleted scenes like on the digital version? Like, like, oh, is the runtime going to be different? And, like, oh, are they going to, just plop the deleted scenes into the actual digital version? And the After Daily News Twitter account, who says that they're French. I mean, they say they are French, and so I'm guessing that they're in France. If there's any country that would get a different cut than the U.S., or who would actually get like a longer cut, like an extended cut, something like a bigger cut than the U.S., it's France. France is very, very liberal. They're very from everything that I know about France. I mean, they're very open. They're very accepting, and but then they said like no, because the runtime is the same version that we got, which was an hour and 45 minutes. They were saying that an hour and 45 minutes was the runtime of the version that they got, which is the same runtime that we got. So if overseas was getting more sex scenes than us, than the US, then that hour and 45 minutes would be upped. And if there's any country that's going to get more sex scenes than the US, it will be France. And so that's where, again, I am calling shenanigans on Jennifer Gibgot, and I kind of want to see her get called down to the carpet to officially answer this question of if there really is a difference between the U.S. and the international version, and like the international audience got a different version than the U.S., then actually I want her to answer a couple of questions here. I want her to answer, who did you bring into that test audience in the U.S.? Who did you actually, plop down in that test audience to watch the film? Part 1A question 1 would be, yeah, who did you bring into the test audience? Question 1A would be, why did you listen to the test audience? Because again, I mean, you guys know what the book is. You know that this is supposed to be a R-rated movie. You know that this is R-rated content. In some cases, it is more than R. I mean, if you were to just translate the book, it would be NC-17. But yeah, it's supposed to be R-rated content. It's a sexual book. So why would you listen to that test audience? Why would you not just, wave your hand and say, oh, screw them, go away, stop talking. Okay, yeah, you had your opinion, but, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. The second question is, if it's not true, if the international audience did not get a different cut than the U.S. and the international audience got the same version that the U.S. audience did, then why did you say differently? Why did you sit there and say differently? Um, because again, like I said, if because again, people were saying like, oh, overseas got about what 6 or 7 sex scenes, or like 5 sex scenes. The U.S. only got about 2 or 3. So if you have additional sex scenes, that's additional run times. And so if even France has the same runtime as the US, then I don't see a different cut being, shopped around overseas. Um, Now maybe they could have had like different shots, like a more explicit shots, but but to say like there's like a whole different cut, like there's like a whole different rating, like oh, like overseas got more sex scenes than the U.S. Well, that doesn't sound true if somebody from France is flat out saying that the runtime is the same. The next thing that I wanted to bring up, talking about the rating, is that the rating. So Anna Todd said that the rating of the new film, or After We Collided, will be rated R. That After We Collided will be rated R. Now, here comes my big question about that one. Going back to the United States versus the international thing, the last thing that I was just talking about, if it's true that international got an R-rated cut of the first film and the U.S. got the PG-13 cut, then my question to Anna Todd would be, well, so tell me, is a similar thing going to happen with After We Collided? Or do you mean this time that it's going to be rated R everywhere? Because I'm not going through this again. I mean, I'm not playing this game of I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and pay for another TV version, because that's effectively what the first film was in theaters with the PG-13 cut, is that it felt like the TV version. I think only like once or twice did it feel like, something that I could actually see in the theaters, and oh, they would have to do some quick editing or like some choppy editing to fix it for TV. But in general, it did feel like a TV version. There was no cursing. When I saw the German clip for the Pride and Prejudice scene, and I even reacted to this on the channel. At one point, Hardin Scott, played by Hero Finds Tiffin, says that that's a load, right? That's the version that we got. But in the German cut, he said the word bullshit. That was actually something that actually came through the audio in the German clip, was the word bullshit. But then all of a sudden when we got it, he said that's a load. And I was actually really like, especially after seeing this film 10 times, by the end, I was literally like watching their mouths to see if there was like some piss poor dubbing, or like if their mouths were saying something different. Because I've been through that before with another film that came out in 2007 called Live Free or Die Hard. That's another film that, well, we got a PG-13, lower cut when they shot it for R. But then again, in that film, you can actually see the actors, mouths moving, and saying completely different things than what is coming out of the audio. So I actually kept watching, and after the actors' mouths, moving in a couple of scenes to see, oh, is their mouths actually saying something different? And not once did it ever come off like that. So unless they went back in and reshot everything, and then so they went back in and reshot, and they actually had him actually say that's a load instead of bullshit, then at no point did it ever come off as that they were doing like some poorly dubbed moments. The other thing about the rating is that I'm guessing that more than a few underage people saw the film for the first one, and so I'm kind of wondering about the rating. Is that, are you kind of cutting your audience off of the legs by putting an R? Like what is going to be the reaction if all of a sudden I open up the daily or weekly MPAA ratings on Box Office Mojo, and it says After We Collided, rated R for ... whatever, probably strong sexual content, strong language, something, drug, like, just stuff like that, is all of a sudden, people going to say like, oh, well, I got to see the first one and now I cannot go see the second one because of the rating. And that's where I would tell people on Twitter to kind of, don't say that publicly, because I think that that was probably the kind of thinking that got us to a 13 on the first one. Because I've already seen people say on Twitter, like, oh, underage kids are going to sneak into After We Collided. Yeah, don't do that, because again, it still takes money away from them. If you sneak away, they don't get the money, and then we might not get another film. Because even though Samuel Larson, who plays Zed, has flat out said that they are signed on for all the movies. The fact of the matter is that people can get signed on to all the movies all the time. That doesn't mean they're going to get to make all the films. I'm sure that for the Mortal Instruments movie series, I'm sure that cast got locked into contracts for 7 or 8 movies. But then, well, we all know how that turned out. The first one didn't do well, so they didn't get to do the second one. We ended up, getting the TV show, which unfortunately has ended. So yeah, like I am a little bit concerned about the rating because again, Anna Todd did say that it's in her new contract that this will be rated R, um, but the fact of the matter is that it's again we've been here before because allegedly, according to Jennifer Gibgot, the U.S. got a PG-13 version, overseas got the R-rated cut. So again, we've been here before. So I guess my question to Anna Todd would be flat out, with you saying that the After We Collided movie will be rated R, as per your new contract, does that mean it will be rated R everywhere? And again, if anybody wants to, kind of, again, I will always say this: if there was anybody, hey Taylor, if there was anybody who was involved in the test audience, if there was anybody who was involved watching, like being invited in to do like the test screening for After, the channel is always open. The channel, my Twitter account, like everything is always open for you to reach out and contact me because I would love to talk to you and find out, what got you to say too much sex. I mean, like, what got you to say, let's take this thing, just, cut the sex, tone it down, whatever. And again, I'll go back to if there's not a difference between the US and the international versions, then please, Jennifer Gibgot needs to get called down to the carpet and ask, why did you lie to us? Why did you say that there was? The next topic here, again, I'm flying through these topics here. The next topic is the fan casting. And so Anna Todd pretty much put out something on Twitter saying, who do you want to be cast as like these different characters? And the characters that she put up were Vance, Kimberly, Trish, Trevor, and I just kind of threw in Tessa's father, and I also threw in Smith here. The problem is that I'm wondering what that contract. Let me just go back up there because I'm seeing what Taylor wrote in the comments. Okay, so Taylor Dukes writes, if the contract is rated R, then the test screening needs to know that. But the problem is we don't know what that contract looked like. We don't know if there was a contract in place for the rating because, like, again, when Anna Todd tweeted out that the After We Collided movie will be rated R, she made the point of putting in there as per her new contract. So the rating could have been, so she could have had like no say in that in the original version or in the original film. And in the original film, the contract could have said, PG-13, or the contract could have said whatever the contract is going to say. And again, that's why I think that Jennifer Gibgot needs to come out and actually talk a little bit more about this when it comes to all this. I mean, this is a mess because I don't want to sit here. I mean, again, like I've always said in several videos, I never want to pay for a TV version. I don't want to have to pay to go see the TV version in theaters. And there were a couple of times in the After movie where, I mean, if Jennifer Gibgot is telling the truth, then I basically paid for the TV version because, like I said in other videos, there was no cursing. Yeah, the cursing is a big thing that I didn't really notice that the first time that I went to go see it, but I did notice the second time. Taylor Dukes is commenting and saying that like I wonder, was Jennifer told to lie? I don't think she was. I think that she is telling the truth, but I think that she, hey Ruby, but I think that the big thing with this is that they they might be under contract to not say anything, because I mean I think like even Anna Todd even commented on the fact that like, oh, we're getting like so many photos now, of like behind the scenes and everything. And she said like, oh well, once we have like, now that we have the new studio, like, oh, we're going to be getting like a whole bunch of stuff during the making of the film. And like, oh, we're going to be treated like so much better. So I'm wondering if that's more goes back to Avrion Pictures essentially. I mean, maybe Jennifer Gibgot is telling the truth, but in terms of like a non-disclosure agreement or like like some type of contract or whatever, she's not allowed now to come out and say like, when I came out and actually said all this, I was telling the truth, but Avrion Pictures did some stupid shit. And Avrion Pictures is the reason why we don't have an unrated cut. Avrion Pictures is the reason why the U.S. got a different version than international. Avrion Pictures is the reason why for all of our troubles, because they could be under contract not to say anything. And that could be it. And again, Taylor Dukes is saying like, I think the new behind the scenes photos have to do with the new studio because we never got this many photos, which is true. We never did. And I'm still waiting to hear what that new studio is. I'm still waiting for them to actually say like who the new studio is, which we should be getting probably any day now, because it's actually been a few days since Anna Todd said that we would be getting the director in a few days. So they could just be waiting to put out like this big press release. I hope they don't dump it this weekend, but they could dump it during the weekend, which I'm hoping that they don't do. For anybody who knows, for anybody who's read the entire books, when is Hardin's birthday? Or when is Hardin's birthday? Or when is Tessa's birthday? Did they ever actually say that in the books? The actual day, or the actual like month and day? Because I know that E.L. James used to do like some special stuff. Because I know E.L. James used to do some special stuff on Christian Gray's birthday. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have to wait until February to hear something. What about? Did they ever say what hers is? Oh, that would be too late. No. Ooh. Yeah, what I was referencing here is that E.L. James, whenever it's like Christian Gray's birthday, she does, some special stuff. She'll put out some, special behind the scenes stuff. She'll put out, something for Christian Gray's birthday. So I was wondering if, if their birthdays would be coming anytime soon, that they might be waiting to kind of like, do like something special or do like a special tie-in here. Harry's birthday, or Harry Styles' birthday, is like in February, right? I would imagine so, since this is supposed to be Harry Styles fan fiction. Yeah, you're right. I do have Google right here at my disposal. Give me a second, Harry Styles. Where are you, buddy? Yeah, his birthday is in February. Harry Styles' birthday is in February. So yeah, I was just wondering if they were gonna do like anything special, or they were waiting for like a special date or anything. Uh, but yeah, I think we're probably going to be getting this stuff in a few days. We're going to probably be getting like a big press release in probably a couple of days, announcing everything, because it sounded like Anna Todd has somebody in mind for Vance, and somebody that she's like really crossing her fingers. So it sounds like they're getting pretty close, and I think they're probably going to want to announce this all at once. So the filming dates, the release date, the new studio, the director. We already got the writers. We already got the writer, the new producers. Yes, Trevor will be in the film. I was just about to get to that before I went back. Yeah, I was actually just about to get to that. Right, because Anna Todd did just like put something on Twitter, asking, the fans' opinions, like who do you want for X, Y, and Z, and the characters were Vance, Kimberly, Trish, and Trevor. So yeah, Trevor has been mentioned more than once in terms of being in the movie. Uh, Vance, especially because she was saying that she had her fingers crossed, and like she actually has somebody in mind for Vance that she's really hoping that it happens. I'm almost thinking that that's going to be Charlie Weber. I really hope that, Ruby says that I really hope that Landon has a bigger role in the next film. Yeah, I hope that everybody has a bigger role in the next film. Um, Especially because I think that Landon just up and disappeared after a minute. Like I think like after the no, wait, he was there at the end. Yeah, I think that Landon was if I'm remembering correctly, I think that I was gonna think that Landon disappeared. Well, yeah, see, well, that's a problem because Ruby is mentioning the fact that Landon is such a big character. Well, a lot of these people are big characters, and they really got the shaft in the first one, and so like that's another thing that they kind of have put themselves into this corner here, because they didn't even do that great of a job, setting up the Tessa Landon friendship. To be honest with you, I mean, they didn't even do, that amazing of a job setting that part up. So they got a lot to do in the second movie, and that's why I think the first movie kind of angers me a little bit more. That the first movie angers me a little bit more, because now instead of just doing like the second movie and kind of like building on the first movie, now you kind of go back and fix a lot of the issues. Now you got to go back and try to retcon some of the issues that you kind of got in the first film. Ruby also says they had too much Molly and Steph. The big thing with Molly is yes, they did have too much Molly, but yeah, the big thing with Molly was that they even toned her down. They even toned down her bitchiness, as it were. They really did tone her down in the first movie. That because when you read the big reveal at the end of the first book, it really is this big gut wrenching moment, and it's made like all the worst because Molly is literally just like digging in the knife, just digging in the knife. I mean, even in to the point that I mean, cover your ears or tone down your computer, but even to the point that Tristan has to literally jump in and and scream, shut the fuck up! She's had enough. And so Tristan wasn't even in the big reveal scene at the end of the movie. But yeah, I mean Tristan. I mean, like that's how much of a gut punch, and that's how much of a heart wrenching, and how much of a digging in of the knife that Molly was doing. That even Tristan had just kind of been like, okay, I've had enough here. Like she's had enough. This needs to end. But there never felt like that moment in the movie because they toned down Molly so much that they even toned down the entire bet. I mean, they even toned down the entire thing. That I'm actually surprised that at some point, and I'll even go into this a little bit more during the watch along commentary live stream. I have to ask. I have not really read that much of Tristan in the books. Does he become any more important in the books? Does he really have anything more important to do in the books? Not at all. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah. So not at all. Oh wow. That makes me feel really a lot worse about Tristan in the movie then, uh, because oh boy, do I got some. Because like I did not mind the gender swap because I didn't really see Tristan as like that big of a character. I didn't really see like any reason, like anything like to really say like, oh, he has to be a guy, like it has to be a guy doing it. So I didn't really mind the gender swap, but especially now with LGBTQ representation in films, you really truly, if you're gonna do this gender swap, if you're going to do uh, a same-sex relationship, you really got to go somewhere with it. You cannot just, pay lip service to it. Otherwise, you are right into that edge of being just queer baiting. And that's exactly, and I've actually seen that term, get thrown around about other things, but I think it really does apply here because in the movie, Tristan is very much irrelevant. That there's nothing in there that really made her relevant. That there was like really nothing in there that really made me believe, like gave me a reason why they had to gender swap it. Other than this, and again, this kind of plays back into the United States versus the international cut. There is a scene where Tristan and Steph are making out in the dorm room while Tessa is in the same room, and again, that scene plays so awkwardly that I was like, "There's no way that if you're saying that there's too much sex in this movie, there's no way that that scene got past the test audience. I mean, this phantom test audience that you keep kind of blaming everything on. Like, it was like, there's no way that a U.S. test audience, let that scene pass. Okay, yeah, so Taylor Dukes is saying, like, well, the first thing that she said was, I can't wait to see Tessa beat her up, or beat Molly up in AWC. They need that because she deserves it. And then she follows it up with, are you looking forward to seeing Tessa beat up Molly? Again, the issue is that they haven't set this up. They haven't set it up. So, yeah, I would love to see Tessa whoop Molly's ass, but because I got more of a cathartic release seeing Tessa beat Molly's ass in the book, I don't think anything was. I was kind of talking about that a little bit earlier when I was on the topic of the United States versus the international, is that there's a Twitter account out there called After Daily News, and I think that they're based out of France, or I think the people running it are in France. And when somebody was asking them about the digital copy, like, oh, are they going to include the deleted scenes? Like, oh, are they going to, put the deleted scenes like into the movie? They said no, because the runtime is an hour and 45 minutes, or the runtime that we got when we got the movie was like an hour and 45 minutes, which is the same cut or the same runtime that we got here in the US. So if there is, because like some people have claimed that there are, more sex scenes in the international cut, well, that would add to the runtime. And so if even people from France are saying like, oh, the runtimes match, and saying like, like when they say like what their runtime was, and then when I look at like what our runtime was, and they match, it's like, well, nothing. I mean, if you put in more sex scenes, then the runtime would have been extended, because more sex scenes equals more time. And so I'm just going in order here. So yeah, we talked about the rating. We talked about all the other stuff that you guys weren't here for. So yeah, Anna Todd put up a tweet talking about the fan casting, and the casting that she mentioned was Vance, Kimberly, Trish, and Trevor. And so I'm just going to go through my list here real quick. Before I pretty much thought that, like, oh, it's probably going to be Charlie Weber. My two choices for Vance were either Joseph Morgan or Max Martini. But if Anna Todd is saying like, oh, she has somebody in mind for Vance and she's really like crossing her fingers, well, the only guy that I've really seen her, take a picture with on Twitter that's people started, going nuts over and saying like, oh, this has to be about after, was Charlie Weber. So I'm guessing that Charlie Weber will be Vance. Kimberly, because again, she was like on this. Charlie Weber is he was in How to Get Away with Murder. That's where I know him from. Going down to Kimberly, just because if it's not Anna Todd, because I could almost see. I mean, if Anna Todd can act, I could almost see Anna Todd, or if Anna Todd even wants to get in front of the camera and actually play a character here and not just a walk-on cameo, then I would almost pick her for Kimberly. I mean, I could kind of see her as Kimberly. But if not her, the person whose podcast or interview that she was giving, where she said like, oh, the director will be announced in a couple of weeks, is, or in a couple of days, excuse me, was Candace King, who I think she was in the Vampire Diaries. that I would almost pick Candace King for Kimberly. If that even came up. Uh, if it's not Anna Todd, I mean, and if Anna Todd does not want to do it, or if that's not even a discussion, then yeah, my vote goes to Candace King. Um, the next person who came up, or at least the one that she was in the list that she gave, was Trish, and I always wanted Anna Friel. Anna Friel. I'm sure that that's how you say her name. I just really see her as Trish, and I know that I'm probably on the right path because I'm not the first person looking around Twitter. Yeah, I think she is. I know she has an accent. I know how terrible this is going to sound, but I know she has an accent, and it sounds English. So yeah, I'm sure that. But I know that I'm on the right path with her because I'm not. I know I have not. Hey, Lobella, Aiken. Uh, that I know I'm not the first person to bring up her name in regards to Trish. I kind of just threw Smith down here, and I've seen like some people put up Selma Blair's son for Smith, and I could kind of see that. I mean, I've seen pictures of the kid. I mean, I can really see that. But again, I don't know how much Selma Blair is going to be involved in the film. I don't know if she's still going to be involved in the film. I hope that she is. But again, with the illness that she's going through, I hope she's healthy enough to come back. But if she's not, then we might also want to, start, throwing up fan castings for. All right, Ruby Maria says she was too involved in the last. Who do you mean? Are you talking about Selma Blair's character? Oh, okay. Um, yeah, but in After We Collided, there's actually that big confrontation scene between uh, Trish, Tessa, Hardin, and God, I am Carol. Selma Blair's character. Yeah, there's like this big confrontation that I'm sure the fans are waiting for. I'm waiting for, and that was like one of the big scenes, especially reading the second book, where I was like, okay, Selma Blair needs to come back because I want to see her do this. I want to see her do this sequence. But if Right, and I think like some people have tried to defend their decision exactly, and that's where my problem. And I kind of said this toward the beginning of the live stream, and I know that now that I have more fans in here, I have more people who read the books in here. I know you guys are probably not gonna agree with me here, but I almost said because they put themselves into such a corner, and especially because they're gonna be introducing Trevor in the second film, that I would almost say let's give Trevor, Zed's material, like some of Zed's material to Trevor, and then they don't really have to go back and retcon some stuff, or like go back and try to like rush in some stuff in terms of Zed and Tessa. Uh, I'll always cry that Landon did not get a much bigger role because I so love that relationship in the book. It is her best friend. I mean, I so love that relationship between Landon and Tessa in the book. Uh, and I'll always cry that Landon did not get much more to do. Um, but yeah, like I've said time and time again, they just put themselves in such a corner here that that's why I wish the first film was better, so that we could just have like a continuation of the story and not having to go back and retcon or like refix the issues. But unfortunately, that's where we are. So that's why I kind of recommended, towards the beginning of the video, um, when you say when Ruby, when you say I think they should bring Zed in, what do you mean? Okay, you think that they should bring him in more? I do think that they should bring him in more. Again, but the problem is that the first film just did not really have anything, and again, an extended cut could have fixed that. But he really does. He really does. There's actually some big stuff that happens in the second book that leads into the third book. That yeah, he does have some a lot bigger things to do. But again, with the Zed that they set up in the first film, again, it would make no sense because they which I think was like one of the greatest changes that they did for the end of the first movie was that instead of ending the movie, Taylor, I'll get back to Selma Blair in a minute, because I'm kind of trying to finish my train of thought here. But yeah, but at the end of the first book, she gets into the car with Zed and they drive off. And then the second book opens up, and he's kind of telling her everything that's happened here, and we kind of get that little love triangle. But the problem is that, and this is what I loved about the first movie, is that instead of ending the movie with her pretty much broken down, sitting there in his car, crying, broken, we actually saw her go back to her hometown. We actually saw her go back and start to repair these relationships. We saw her moving on with her life, and that's actually something that I really enjoyed about the first film. Even though it was completely screwing with the timeline or screwing with the continuity in terms of the books. But yeah, I mean, they just really backed themselves into a corner with the first one. I'm on After We Fell. So if it's the large fight that I'm thinking of, then that was in After We Collided, then yeah, I'm working through After We Fell now. So yeah, if it's a large fight that I'm thinking of, then yeah, it's in After We Collided, and yeah, I've already read it. Um, was it the one where Hardin may or may not have gotten expelled, or the one that caused Hardin to be at risk for expulsion? Okay, then yeah, that's in the second book, and yeah, I've already gotten through that. Um, but yeah, let's finish up with the fan casting, and then we'll go back to what Taylor has been mentioning in a second that relates to Selma Blair. Uh, so yeah, I really don't have a skin in the game here for Smith, really. Trevor, I've seen the name Darren Barnett get thrown around more than a few times. I don't know who Darren Barnett is. I cannot, I don't even know like anybody who I would even throw their name into the ring with this one. But I'm guessing that a few people have mentioned that every time that somebody brings up on his Instagram um, that like mentioning Trevor or after he likes it, so I'm guessing that that means that he might have already been talking to them about doing it. So I'm guessing that Darren Barnett is basically going to be our Trevor, unless something changes. Um, Another thing here is that there's a character that appears at the end of the second book, um, who who is related to our main character, who is related to Tessa. That it kind of ends in like this big cliffhanger of her meeting this person for the first time after a long time, and the I originally said Charlie Weber for that role, but if Charlie Weber is going to be Vance, or if Charlie Weber is kind of like in the running for Vance, then I would almost say for this character, I would almost say Max Martini is the actor that I would vote for that. For the cliffhanger character at the end of the second book. I would almost say Max Martini. I would say Max Martini because again, I just want to see Max Martini and more stuff. I just kind of reading it. I can kind of see Max Martini doing this. Um, Moving on to the yeah, okay. Before I move on to the next topic, yeah. So Taylor has been updating us on some information about Selma Blair. So yeah, Taylor Duke says I'm scared because she's having trouble walking now. Taylor Duke, she has to use a walker bike now. Taylor Duke, Selma using a walker bike, so now I'm kind of worried. Okay. Yeah. That really is unfortunate, and my heart goes out to her and her family. in this time of crisis. And I hope that the Afternators, especially if they have to come back and recast the role, I hope that the Afternators will shower her with love and support. This fandom will shower her with love and support in this time of of great turmoil that her family must be going through, that she must be going through, and that the Afternators will actually embrace whoever. I mean, if they do bring back the character, whoever they end up getting. I mean, if she is too ill to come back, which from the sound of it with Taylor, it sounds like that's exactly what she is that she might be a little bit too ill to come back. So I hope to all heaven that the Afternators will be understanding. I hope that you guys will embrace this new person as much as you embraced Selma Blair. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough to see. So yeah, on to happier news here. The release date. The release date is the next topic that I wanted to talk about. A lot of people have been mentioning February. A lot of people have been saying like this is like the perfect film for February. Okay, yeah. Before I go on to the release date, Taylor Dukes, if it has to come to that, I understand because health is more. Exactly. Yeah, health is the most important thing here. No, and I even said this in another video talking about Anna Todd feeling the stress. That Anna Todd, feeling the stress and and all that. Like I said repeatedly that your health is not worth a book or a movie or whatever you're doing. Your health is the most important thing, and that's what matters the most is your health. So I hope the Afternators at large can be very understanding. But moving back to the release date, yeah, Ruby, I'm pretty sure that you're responding to me saying February. Yeah, so I've seen like a lot of Afternators saying February, February, like a Valentine's Day release. Which, yes, in a perfect world, yes, I think that this would be a great Valentine's Day movie. I think this would be a great Valentine's Day date night movie. But I think Ruby, you're making that point is that that's very quick. That would be a quick turnaround. That would be an amazingly quick turnaround, but I think that they would be too rushed trying to make the date. And that's why I hope that when they put out the press release, that's why I secretly hope that it does not have a release date on it, that it just says 2020. Because I've seen that too many times where these productions have a release date before they have anything else, before they have a script, before they have anything in place, before they've shot even a frame of film. They already have a release date, and then they rush to try to make that release date. We should be working on getting the best film that we can. That's what we should be hoping for, to get the best film that we can. So if we have to wait, say like until next April, if they want to do this again in April, or in the summer or in the fall, then we should want the best movie possible, not something that they'll just rush out and just try to just put something in front of us. I want them to really take their time with this, because again, there were so many issues with the first one. They do have so many things to fix with the first one, that because of the first one, that I just want them to make the best movie possible. I don't want them just to rush something out just to put it out there. So that's why I'm hoping that when they do like this big press release, as I imagine they're going to do, I'm hoping that it just does not say the release date. It just says 2020. That would make me feel a lot better. I'm glad that they have a script. I'm glad that they have a filming date, which, according to Samuel Larson, and I think I already made this video, Samuel Larson was talking to somebody, and he said, "Oh, they're going to shoot in September." According to Samuel Larson, they're going to start shooting in September. So if they follow the same schedule like the first one, it's September. They would pretty much be filming over 2 months. So it would be like September, October, probably finish in November. they got to account for reshoots, because I'm sure that, and before anybody freaks out, reshoots are a part of filming. Reshoots do not mean the end of the world. Reshoots are just a normal part of filming. Every film factors in the reshoots. But yeah, if they were to put this thing out in February, if they were to start shooting in September and put this thing out in February, okay, I don't think I was actually following the first film. Yeah, Aladdin did reshoots as well. Again, like, reshoots are not the end of the world. Now, if we start seeing point blank that they are saying, stuff like, oh, they're reshooting, 90% of the movie, then yes, that is the end of the world. Then yes, we got bigger problems than ever before. But but yeah, reshoots are totally normal for the most part. Only unless you start hearing that they're reshooting like 90% of the movie. Because I've seen both sides of that. I've seen the reshoots that are just coming in and doing. Well, let me put it like this. Since, Avengers Endgame is like one of the biggest films of the year, there was a film that came out in 2012 called The Avengers. The Sonic movie is different. But yeah, there was a movie called The Avengers that came out in 2012, and after the credits scene just showed the characters sitting around at a restaurant table eating shawarma. I mean, that's what they were doing. But guess when that was shot? That was shot the night after the premiere. So literally, like a couple of days before the film was set to come out in theaters. I mean, literally get released in like thousands upon thousands of theaters, like 4,000 theaters. They literally went back and shot that quick 30-second, little, or 10-second little scene. It was literally shot the night of the premiere. That after the credits, shawarma scene. I mean, that was literally shot the night of the premiere, like either like the day after the premiere, and it was literally like a couple of days before they were set to release this film in like 4,000 theaters. So yeah, reshoots happen all the time. The only time to get cause of concern is when you start hearing reports like, oh, they're reshooting this entire movie. That's when reshoots are a problem. So yeah, like, reshoots can mean anything. Aladdin did reshoots. I don't know what they reshot, but I know Aladdin did reshoots. Taylor also mentioned that the Sonic movie is very, very different. The Sonic movie, what's going on with the Sonic movie is very, very different. And that is setting a very dangerous precedent. And I made a promise to myself that I would keep this on after. So we are not talking about the Sonic movie right now. But yeah, what else am I missing here? I went through the casting. I went through the release date. I went through the rating at the beginning of this video. I went through the team. Okay, now that I actually have some people here, I'm just going to go ahead and mention this. You guys are all voting for the Teen Choice Awards, right? Like, you all are doing your part on this, just to make sure. Even if people are saying that it's rigged, you still need to vote, because there are some people who are accusing everything of being. Yeah, even if they are rigged, you still need to vote. Well, I got you beat, Taylor, because I'm actually doing this through the website, and I'm maxing out all 10 of my votes for each category for the After movie and the Aladdin movie, so I got you beat there. But yeah, but see, when I make a video talking about, either, after won or after lost, we still need to vote that way, so I have a leg to stand on when I point out how rigged the process is. Because right now, looking at the retweets, when you look at the category for choice drama movie or choice drama movie actor or choice drama movie actress, Hero Finds Tiffin, Josephine Langford, and After movie is by far and away the biggest retweeted thing of the bunch. Yeah, and I kind of mentioned that towards the beginning of the video when I was actually talking about this particular topic. But yeah, because don't be, and I'll even mention this here, don't be surprised if it ends up going choice drama movie, A Star Is Born, choice drama movie actor, Bradley Cooper, choice drama movie actress, Lady Gaga. Don't be surprised if that's what ends up happening. I really love that movie, so there's a part of me that would want to be happy, but not at the expense of after. There's also a part of me that would want to be happy to see the name Amandla Stenbergen getting a win for The Hate You Give, but not at the expense of after. If after is the one, especially because they're saying that, I'll get to your comment in a second, Taylor. Uh, but if you're going to pitch this as teen vote or viewer voting, then it needs to stick with viewer voting. Even if you don't agree with it, you need to stick with what you're saying, with how you're pitching this. Because especially with this, there is no way to make this seem anything less than rigged. So again, even the Teen Choice Awards is backing themselves into a corner in terms of after, because again, there's no way to make this seem legitimate. I would rather they win. I would rather they win. Yeah, it is great just to be nominated, but I would rather they win than just be nominated. If only just to see people on the day after. It's not. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Because again, it is very important that we just got nominated. I mean, that proves how great this fandom is just to make it into that category. I mean, just to make it in. When you think of like all the stuff that came out, that's actually the most important thing here. Yeah, but this is supposed to be the fun one. This is supposed to be the one where the viewer, Ruby is saying, no, it's not like it's the Oscars. Yeah, but see, this is supposed to be the fun award show. This is supposed to be the one where it's supposed to be more toward the fans and less towards the older people. That's the best way I know how to put that. Because again, I've even seen this in recent years. That's why I kind of even said this on Twitter. I said this on Facebook that like me before this year. Oh, the Teen Choice Awards don't mean shit. Like, oh, they're rigged. Like, they don't mean shit. And all of a sudden, like this year, it's like, oh, are you telling me that After and Aladdin are nominated? Okay, I got to vote, 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 vote. Okay, I actually care this time. Like, oh my god, like, oh, I'm maxing out like all my voting. On like every day since it went up. Like, I'm maxing out the voting on the website for each category. Like, oh, now I care. but yeah, it really it doesn't matter because for the public at large, I mean, this stuff doesn't matter. I mean, most people see because again, I mean, any team or any award show where you can vote, 10 times, for like one category, in a day, that already kind of just kind of like throws everything out the window. It should be one vote, one vote. That's all that it should be. That's the legitimate one. But yeah, I just really want After to win. This is like the first year that I've actually cared this much about this. That I've actually put any kind of stock into the Teen Choice Awards. But yeah, it is very important that we are just nominated. That really is important because I didn't even see that coming. To be honest with you, I didn't even think that was even a possibility until like some article got written where they said like, oh, After was like one of the most nominated. Or one of like the most tweeted about choices when they were first picking the nominees. So that was like the first time where I even thought that even After even had a shot of even making it into the Teen Choice Awards. So yeah, before that day, I didn't even think that After would even have a shot. But now I just really wanted to win, and I really want Aladdin to win, even though I know that Aladdin's not going to win. Aladdin has no chance at winning because, again, it's going up against Aquaman, Mary Poppins Returns, and a whole bunch of other crap. Not crap because I hated them. I love all those films, but yeah, After is the one that I just really, really care about. I really just want to see it win. Okay, going back to the casting, and Taylor kind of mentioned this. To go back to the casting, what if casting is nothing what we expected? Oh, I am fully expecting that to happen. Oh, I've seen that happen before. I mean, I've seen You know what? I know that this is going to open up the floodgates here, but do y'all remember a show called Game of Thrones? I'm gonna pretty much imagine that you do, or you'll take the time to answer. But yeah, people were theorizing about Game of Thrones pretty much for the past 2 years, but it didn't really end the way that anybody really thought it will. Even like the big battle episode, that where people were like, oh, like everybody's gonna die. I'm gonna be lighting candles for the like. People were even showing pictures on Twitter of like Uh, the entire cast lineup, like, oh, I'm gonna like, light a candle for this person, for this person, for that person. Yet nobody really died. Nobody really, bit it in the battle episode. So yeah, I've seen that before where the fans, go like all this theorizing where, fans will, really get dialed into this, start, theorizing on like who's cast or what's gonna happen. And then it turns out, nope, that's never what's gonna happen. So yeah, for all we know, Vance is not gonna be Charlie Weber. Uh, Kimberly will not be Candace King. For all the likes that Daniel Barnett has given, everybody, talking or, commenting on his stuff saying like, oh, you would be great as Trevor. Um, Daniel Barnett might not even get cast. For all we know, they could announce the cast list and like the majority of fans will be like, hey, wait a minute. Like, hey, wait a minute. We thought it was going to be X, Y, and Z, but it's actually, this person or that person. And so yeah, like at the end of the day, the people who have a final say is the casting directors, and I'm hoping that Anna Todd has like some say in this, but I don't know if she does. All I want is, and this is what we're gonna get. Will there be Ruby? Just to kind of answer this question, will there be 3 films or 4? Uh, I'm not sure. I think Samuel Larson mentioned it. I think Samuel Larson actually mentioned this, and that was one of the questions he was asked. Like, are you guys under contract? And I think he said 4 films. But I remember, yeah, they're signed on to 4. But I remember like at some point Anna Todd said like books 3 and 4 would be, combined, into like one movie. So yeah, I think that I think Samuel Larson did say that it would be that they were signed on to 4. So yeah, we could be getting 4, but again, I could have read that wrong. I could have read that wrong. Yeah, just the chapters that I've read so far for After We Fell. Yeah, there's a lot to even include, even in those first chunks of chapters that I've done for the read throughs so far. Uh, but yeah, Samuel Larson would know better than me, or Samuel Larson would know. So yeah, he said they were signed on to 4. But let's focus on number 2, because again, if number 2 fails, we're not going to get 3. We're not going to get 4. So let's focus on number 2 and making number 2 a hit. And I'll kind of even tie that into whatchamacallit, the Avatar movies, the James Cameron Avatar movies. Uh, they're right now they've dated, I think, 4 films, or like 5 films for the Avatar films. So it would be like 2 is coming out, I think, in 2021. 3 is coming out in 2022 or something like that. But like James Cameron even said, oh, they shot 2 and 3 back to back. But if 2 and 3 don't make money, then don't expect 4 and 5. So yeah, it's the same thing for After We Collided. Is that if After We Collided does not make money, then don't expect After We Fell or After Ever Happy. And especially, yeah. To go on, to go in order, Ruby Maria says Anna Todd should hire you. Yeah, I would love to get hired. But Taylor Duke says we have to make AWC a bigger hit, just like the first one. Yeah, especially because they're going so much back to the fans. We need to make AWC a much bigger hit than the first one because they're going back to the fans. Because this time it feels like, from all the interviews that have been given, from all the information that we've gotten so far, it feels like the shackles are off this time. So this time we're getting an R. We're going back to the books. And so if I don't want to be sitting here in a year from now, uh, trying to defend them when somebody, from the studio or somebody from Avrion Pictures, like there's like something that leaks out where Avrion Pictures, pretty much, slaps the fans around and says, well, you guys ended up getting what you wanted and you still didn't come, or, you didn't come to it. So I guess we were right the first time. So, haha, suck it. And so I don't want to have to be sitting here a year from now and actually defend them. And of course, I will never defend them. I mean, if they come out and tell the fans to suck it, I will never defend them in a million years. But I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to even half defend them. But that's why I want to see AWC make more money than the first. Because if they're gonna, put all their chips on the fans, if they're gonna put all their chips into us and say, okay, you wanted an R, we're gonna give you an R. You wanted Book Harden, we're gonna give you Book Harden. You wanted it to be more like the books, we're gonna make it more like the books. Then you gotta show up for Then you gotta show up for AWC. Either if it goes to Netflix, we got to show up and watch it on Netflix. If it shows up in theaters, then we got to show up in theaters for it. And I don't think that there are, if they release AWC in April, I don't think there are any big films or so big of a film like Avengers Endgame. I know I mentioned this before, but I don't think that there are any so big films that it would get taken away very quickly. So AWC should be in theaters a little bit longer than Avengers, than after. Okay, so Ruby says, LOL, couldn't even show up for the first one as it wasn't released here. Where are you, Ruby? He asked, guessing that you're probably in the UK. There it is. Yeah, you guys are getting it on July 12th, I think, on Netflix. And that's what I think that they're hoping. I think that I think that that's what kind of killed them on the first movie. So Taylor Duke says, I'm going to be seeing it more and more if we are getting a better movie. And I think that that's what they're hoping. That's what, because I think that that's what killed them on the first movie. That if the first movie was better, you would have had the vast majority of fans going back for multiple viewings. And once it kind of got out, around the fandom that oh, this isn't, up to quality, this isn't up to snuff. All of a sudden, people just kind of turned away from it. And you kind of even saw that opening weekend where you just saw that drop from day to day, from Friday to Saturday to Sunday, where the box office numbers just kept going down and down and down as that word of mouth just sort of got around to the fans, essentially, saying oh, it's not worth it. Oh, this is not the book. This is not what we fell in love with. And so, yeah, if you can bring in the fans, if you can, bring the fans along, which again, showing what the fans have been able to do for the Teen Choice Awards, then it proves that there is a fandom here. It proves that there is a very strong, passionate fan base. And so you do need to go back to the fans. And so that's why the fans need to show up for the sequel. Because again, if they're going to go back to the fans need to prove to them why it was a good idea to go back to the fans. Because essentially now they're going back with their tail between their legs and saying, I'm sorry. So, all right. So Ruby says that she has to watch it on a dodgy website in awful quality. They didn't allow one of its biggest audiences to see it, which, yeah, that was one of the biggest problems on their part. And I would love to sit down and talk with them and ask, why did the UK never get it? That's just what that's just would be one of my biggest questions to them. But Yeah, but yeah, you guys are getting so yeah, Ruby, if you have Netflix, you guys are getting it on Netflix in July, so you might be able to watch it in better quality when it comes out on Netflix in July. What it because there was like a big list of like a whole bunch of places that is getting it on Netflix. Did they mention like have they even said anything about Australia yet in terms of Netflix? Because we got the UK, we got like a whole bunch of other places with the U with Netflix, but like have they even said anything about Australia yet? Okay, yeah, you're saying you don't know. Uh, yeah, yeah. It always made me scratch my. Ruby mentions that the main actor is from the UK. Yeah, it always made me scratch my head to wonder why did they never. I mean, especially when your main guy is from the UK, like why did you not even put it out there? Taylor Dukes. I wonder will the UK get it in theaters for AWC? Uh, Apparently, Australia has a release date in July, according to Taylor. Uh, Again, that kind of comes down to the studio because again, look at what's happened here. I mean, look at what's happened, you know, with the first film. So it's anybody's guess what's going to happen with the second film. No, Michael. Everything has been going great. Yeah, everything's been going great. Like this thing has been amazing today. Long story, Ruby. Yeah, today. Yeah, tonight has gone so much better than yesterday. Uh, okay, that's good. So he's actually been arrested, or he or she has been arrested, whoever it was. Yeah, everything's been going great this time. Yeah, everything's been going great this time. Uh, yeah, this live stream will actually go up on the channel this time. I just deleted the last night's. Yeah, you guys kind of missed this, but I kind of even said at the beginning. Okay, and Michael, a lot of people vouched for you, so I believe that you are who you say you are. Yeah, like a lot of people vouched for you. So yeah, I'm sorry about any mix-ups last night. Yeah, yeah. No, I think he works for YouTube or some part of YouTube. Um, Ruby. But yeah, when I upload this thing, I know that you two were not here at the beginning of this video, but yeah, I already said it in the beginning of this video. I've already said my piece with this. Uh, I've already said my piece with all this, and we're moving forward. We're moving forward with this. We're moving forward. We're progressing. We're putting that behind us. No, that's okay, Michael. I really am. No, I don't want to drop the. I mean, no, I don't want to drop it. I mean, I want to progress and move on, but like, no, I don't want to drop it. All right. Um, Michael, before you go, is there any way that you can email it to me, or is there any way that YouTube can mail it to me so it will not be here in the chat? Because tonight we're trying to stay more positive than last night. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Go ahead. All right. Take. Wait a minute. One more question. Uh, if he was just arrested last night, wait, did it go through that fast? Because sometimes you hear the courts taking forever. I mean, like, did it really go through that fast? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Take care and thanks for your help. It all happened last night, Ruby. All right, so yeah, that was a little bit of a detour. All right, so where were we? Let's get back to the after talk. Um, so yeah, Taylor Dukes says that she would love if we got a soundtrack for After We Collided, like 50 Shades. Yeah, I would love to get a soundtrack like 50 Shades. Okay, yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, take care, Michael. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am okay. Yeah, tonight was actually going so much better. Uh, all right, so Taylor Dukes. I'm looking forward to seeing how the movie deals with Harden's nightmares. Yeah. When you say Harden's nightmares, do you mean what happened to his mom? Okay. Yeah, that is a big question mark. Because nowadays you can't just throw that into a movie. After everything that happened with the that's been happening with the Times Up Me Too movement, you cannot just throw that into a movie. You cannot just throw something like that into a movie. And they did kind of bring it up um in the first movie, but it was very much thrown in there. It was like a very quick thing uh, when Harden's dad, Ken Scott, played by Peter Gallagher, which I really hope he comes back for the sequel. But yeah, Peter Gallagher was like giving a speech at the wedding, and Harden was talking with Tessa, and I think they even brought up that stuff. But it was like a very quick thing. It was like an in and out thing that I didn't even realize that that was the speech that they were giving until I think like my third time watching it. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a big question mark hanging over them. If they bring it up, then they better handle it right. That's all I can say with that. Because now people are so much or now films and television are so much under the microscope that when you bring up sexual assault, that you need to do it right. You need to actually go somewhere with it. You need to handle it right. You need to handle it with care. You cannot just randomly throw it into the to whatever you're doing. Uh, but yeah, just to before I wrap up here and do any final thoughts, are there any viewer questions that you guys, or like anything else that you guys want to bring up that I feel like I need to say this that has nothing to do with what happened last night? I've said my piece with what happened last night at the beginning of this video. I've said all I'm going to say about it. All that we now do is just move on and progress, and that hopefully that will never happen again. Hopefully it's been taken care of. Uh, but but yeah, his nightmares are going to be a big question mark hanging over them. I'm already seeing it in a TV show that's getting ready to come out on Amazon Prime called The Boys. That I'm a big fan of the comics, but the comics does a lot of terrible, nasty shit, especially to one of the female characters, and somebody who saw the pilot even said like, "Oh, there's something that's brought up in the pilot, but we need to wait and see like how it's handled, throughout the rest of the episodes." And I'm pretty sure I know what that is. That I'm pretty sure that I know what that moment that they're talking about is, and that's just really indicative of where we are right now as a nation, as a country, as a world. Dealing with all this. That if you bring up this type of subject matter, you need to actually go somewhere with it. You can't just randomly throw it in anymore. Because now we are expecting a lot more from movies and entertainment rather than just using that for cheap shock value or whatever. And especially if they're going to show his nightmares, they really do got a tight rope to walk. Um, but yeah, I'll ask again. Other than about what happened last night, is there any other topics about after that you guys have? That any other things that you want to bring up? All right, as I'm doing the wrap up here, I'll see it if you guys start doing it in the comments, and I'll kind of stop and do whatever. All right, so if you are new to the channel and you are just finding this channel for the first time, thank you so much for watching, especially for being here from beginning to end. If just to go through all the content that you can find on this channel, I'm doing the read through of the entire After series. These will be daily uploads, barring any types of personal illnesses or issues. Right now, I'm working on After We Collide or After We Fell. I've already done After and After We Collided. Those two books are already up on the channel. You can find all that. And those will be daily uploads, barring any types of personal issues or illnesses. now that we have the official green light for the After We Collided movie, I will be bringing you guys constant updates on that. You'll be so updated that you'll get tired of the updates. On June 26th, even though I might do another live stream at some point, because I was talking about doing something like for like the Aladdin spoiler talk or spoiler discussion. But yeah, the next After related live stream will be on June 26th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that will be to do like a commentary watch along with me about the After movie. With the After movie digital copy. If you just want to watch the live stream and you want to do the get your own copy later, you want to have your own copy at that point, then that's fine. Like the 50 Shades one, it will start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will start at like 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will open up the live stream a little bit before at 12:57 Eastern Standard Time, or 12:55 Eastern Standard Time, to like let people come in, get situated, let me do some final run throughs. And so every other day I will be posting different topics that come up in the After fandom. If you have any topics that you would like to see me talk about, you can either do it down in the comment section, or you can find me on Twitter or my email. All the relevant information is in the About section of the channel. I'm going to regret this. Flair McDougie, I can't believe it. What? Well, you can't believe what? If this is about what happened last night and what Michael said, I've said my piece on it. We're going to move forward. We're gonna move forward. We're not gonna be looking back. It's over. It's done with. It's been taken care of. That would be the last thing that I'll mention of it. I'll say this: Ruby, or what's the other name of this person? Ruby or Amanda. If Taylor is up for it, find a way to get in touch with Taylor. I'm sure that she can tell you everything that's been going on. If you want to find a way to try to get in touch with her, I'm giving Taylor permission to explain what happened. But I've said my piece on it, and we're going to move forward and look forward. But yeah, I've said my piece. I'm done talking about it. Hopefully it's been taken care of. Hopefully that will never happen again. Because I just never want to feel the way I felt last night. Yeah, Taylor, I'm giving Taylor permission for this. So yeah, so I think I've gone through everything: the read-throughs, the After We Collided movie news, the topics, the everything. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. But yeah, I even made a promise to myself that when I said that we're over, we're done with, I'm actually meaning it. So yeah, so take care. Thank you so much for watching. So yeah, if you want to know, I think Taylor just put up her information. So yeah, if you want to know what happened for Amanda or Ruby, if you're still here, talk to Taylor. I'm giving her permission for that. But I made a promise to myself, and I'm done. Good night. Goodbye.